Check this out.
Welcome to BLPA Big Show. Hockey sports, life for the adult athletes. Yeah. Powered by the Beer League Players Association.
Better follow me.
Follow us, the BLPA, on every social media outlet. Follow the crew on Twitter at Nicker Jones.
Let's get it. Here we go.
Welcome to the greatest sports show in the world. Good week, everybody. Hey, listen. Like we said, we were going to get on a streak, 3 in a row, and there were a lot of things against us this week. A lot of things. This almost didn't happen. But we said, we got to pull through. We got to get that streak. We got to keep it going. And so you can see, like, Jess isn't here. That's number one thing that happened. She decided, I've got season tickets to the Canes, and I want to go watch them.
With the Whalers hat on, too.
Yeah.
I like the Whalers hat.
Yeah, I do, too.
I can't believe
and then Kev was at the dentist trying to get upcharged by his dentist on some extra, caps, maybe. Was it porcelain caps, I think? And then we had a guest that was scheduled for this week. Yablonsky. Was it Jeremy? Is that his name, Nick?
Yeah, Jeremy Yablonsky. Yabo. If you guys don't know who he is, you guys better YouTube him right now because he is a legend. And that's with the capital L.
Exactly. And we were going to have him on, but because of all the other stuff, we're going to have him on next week. And we're going to hear some stories. I watched some videos of this guy. He can throw those fucking meat hands like nobody's business. And so we're going to talk about a little bit about fighting, and that's, stuff we don't do in the beer leagues traditionally, unless things just fucking twist off and the wild boys are ready to go crazy. But we'll talk to Yabo next week. This week we're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover obviously the NHL. We're going to talk about some injuries, and just kind of go along for the flow. I know Jess is joining us live, so chirp her as much as you can. I'm glad to see that your ficus is still in bloom there, Kev.
Yeah,
good.
I don't think it's a ficus.
Well,
I looked up a picture of a ficus and it doesn't look like that.
What is it?
I don't know. I asked my wife; she didn't know either. Why is my plant a topic of subject?
Well,
a topic of conversation?
It's right there. It's a ficus.
It's very large. It's very big.
And guess what else is big? Ficuses, I think.
Okay.
Fici. Is that a plural? Is it
Fici?
Is it fici or Q?
Is that the plural?
Yeah. So, other than that, I hope you guys have had a good week that are out there listening to us. You can find us every social media outlet, the BLPA. That's the BLPA stands for Beer League Players Association, obviously. But first, I want to say that this show is brought to you by hockeywolf.com. Ow, 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 ow. Hey, not a boy, Nick. Hockeywolf.com. Beer leaguers just like you and me, just trying to make the game more affordable. Hockey is expensive. We get it. And my boy Trav over at Hockey Wolf, they want to take care of you, whether it's jerseys, whether it's new equipment, new gloves. I mean, they got those state gloves, the CCM gloves that they were doing. They're right on. They're bangers. And go check them out. Hockeywolf.com. Ow, 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 ow. So, all right. So let's get into this really quick, and let me just ask, what's going on with you guys? Have you had good weeks? What's on the docket for you guys the rest of this week?
I'm good. Things are good here. Just doing the family thing, working. Pretty, it's cold. It's cold as shit here in Colorado. So that sucks. But I guess I'm talking to someone who's in Calgary. I can't really say all that much.
I got you guys beat.
Do you?
What?
I'm in Florida. I'm in Florida. That's what I'm saying. I'm in Florida. I'm about 10 minutes from the beach, guys. So you know what I mean? I'm in shorts every day. Go ahead, K-Road. My bad.
Well, if it's cold as shit in Colorado, it's cold as fuck in Alberta right now.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's been colder. So I mean, we got that right. Hey, Mike, you have a good game. Mike's letting us know that. Have a good show. He'll catch the replay headed for the rink. Hey, there's only one reason you should miss this show, and that's so you can play your own hockey, not like Jess, where you're going to watch other people play hockey. You can just TiVo that. Isn't that what they used to record? TiVo or
TiVo? Wow, is that still a thing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
of course I remember it, but I don't know if they still exist.
It morphed into DVR, same thing.
Yeah, true enough.
But just by a different name. A rose by any other color would still smell sweet or whatever. So speaking of cold, I'm going to the booming metropolis of Binghamton, New York, this weekend. And we're going to play a pond hockey tournament. It's a little charity pond hockey tournament, I think, but it's supposed to be cold there. and they have decided to cancel all the games on Friday because it's too cold.
Holy shit!
Really?
Which seems, and listen, not my style to throw shade at people. You know me. I'm not putting this guy on blast or anything. But to me, when you're playing outdoor pond hockey, the
point?
It's going to be cold.
We used to go play in Eagle River every year in February, Eagle River, Wisconsin, and it was so fucking cold. It was like you had to you didn't even really want to play hockey. You just went there to hang out and drink, but it was so fucking cold that you just layered up. So I'm surprised.
Did they cancel games?
They never canceled a game. Well, when I was going.
And listen, I get it. Like when you talk to the guy, guy's a great dude, by the way. He just said he didn't say the players are pussies. He just insinuated. No, he just said he has a bunch of volunteers and he doesn't want to subject people that are volunteering to dangerous cold stuff. But
why are you volunteering for a pond hockey tournament? That doesn't make any sense. Why are you volunteering for a pond hockey tournament? It's outside. So what is it supposed to be? Warm? That doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to be able to put your beers right in the snow, be able to put it right back on. If you're that cold, sit in the car, put the heater on. I'm sure you can pull it right up, but give me a break. Then what's the point of volunteering? I'm sorry, boys. That just doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't. Do you know how cold it's supposed to be?
Well, he said the wind chill is going to be minus 30. Okay, and that's cold.
It's not that bad.
It's balmy. But
you got to think. I know, but Nicky, you got to think. Probably the volunteers are from Binghamton. Have you ever been to Binghamton before?
No. Oh,
I have. And Binghamton, don't get me wrong, it's a cool little place, but it is kind of like the armpit of the earth, meaning, it's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's farm country, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful place, but at the same time, I mean, cold is cold, and that place is cold there, right? Yeah. And it's cold there. I mean, they have like 1 month of spring, and that's it. I mean, they don't even really have a summer. So that doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, because that just pisses me off. It pisses me right the fuck off. That just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Hey, listen.
It doesn't make sense.
I throw a tournament every year, 1st of March in Lake Louise, Alberta. And it's an outdoor rink, but it is covered, but it's natural ice. It's beautiful up there. And one year we went and it was 0 degrees. That's 32 degrees for the American scale. And the next year it was minus 40 on Sunday morning. And I was like, well, what do you guys want to do, players? And they said, well, fuck, let's just get it fucking over with. Like, you want to play? And they're like, not really, but we don't not want to play. Like, this is what we signed up for. I mean, it was so cold the refs couldn't even blow their whistles. Like the whistles froze. And at that point, minus 40 is where it crosses over. So minus 40 Celsius, minus 40 Fahrenheit. So it's fucking cold. But we did it and we survived. And listen, I get the danger aspect to it. Minus 30, like if you're not bundled up, you can get some frostbite, hypothermia. A lot of stuff can happen. I get the safety aspect of it, but at the end of the day, we did register to play pond hockey, and I mean, don't say, well, the players will be uncomfortable and don't sign up for a pond hockey tournament. I don't know what to tell you, because people
in February in New York.
Yeah, and people are bitching all over.
It's not like it's June.
Yeah, and people are bitching all over the world about, well, we can't play pond hockey because climate change and yada yada yada. And it's like, well, okay, well, if you're going to bitch about not being able to play pond hockey, and then we're going to start canceling events because it's too cold. But there is also, I can't remember who was telling me, maybe did we talk about this last week, about how when you skate, you're not actually skating on the edge, on the blade, you're skating on a bead of water that is between.
Did you see that? I mean, I wasn't there for that, but did you see that? What's his face? Neil deGrasse Tyson, is that his name? Did you see that thing? He was talking about it, Joe Rogan, I think he was talking with Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan looked like he just, didn't know whether to shit or go blind. You know what I mean? Because he didn't
Joe Rogan.
That's pretty as much his look,
but he didn't understand.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. So you're actually skating on a bead of water that's caused by the friction from your blade hitting the ice. So you're actually not skating on the ice. And so he said, in theory, it can be too cold to ice skate because that water isn't a bead of water. It's solid, right? So I don't know what that temperature is.
I've never had that happen, though. I mean, I've never seen that. Yeah.
What
would happen? Would you just stop? You couldn't actually go?
I don't know.
I wonder if it'd be like. I don't know what that'd be like. I can't even. It just. I'm not smart enough to comprehend that.
But maybe
I don't think the three of us together are smart enough to comprehend that.
Maybe we can get Neil Tyson DeGrassi on this show.
Well, you got to say his name right if you want to get him on.
I don't know it. I don't know it. What is it?
Neil deGrasse Tyson. No, you were right. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, Nikki said it wrong. That's okay.
Shit happens. Between two Nicks, one of us got it right. So
forget about
that. Is true. That is true. Yep.
Someone wants to know. I have to go to Brampton next weekend. What do I wear? And
I think that's pretty. That's Jess, isn't it?
That is Jess.
I think that's
she shouldn't be going to Brampton. She should be going to Savannah, Georgia, to play hockey with us. But I digress. I think it just depends. I mean, you're in Toronto, you're by the lake, so it could be really fucking cold or it could be really fucking nice. You know, I don't know.
Are you guys flying into Savannah, by the way?
Yeah. So here's my week. I'm gonna fly to Binghamton Thursday, and then I fly from Binghamton. So my flight is Calgary to Minneapolis, Minneapolis to LaGuardia, LaGuardia to Binghamton. Then I'm there. Then I leave Binghamton. I go Binghamton, LaGuardia, LaGuardia to I believe Oklahoma City. That's where I'm from. I'm going to see my folks for a couple days, and then I fly out from Oklahoma City, go Oklahoma City to Atlanta, Atlanta to Savannah.
Holy
shit! I was gonna say, if you want to take a little trip down to Orlando, pick me up, and I'll come up to Savannah with you. Maybe I'll meet you in Savannah. If you need a gritty D man.
Well, we could use play. We almost sold out. That's the crazy thing about this Savannah thing.
Awesome.
There's not much hockey. Yeah, there's not much hockey in Savannah. And when I actually called Jacksonville and said, "Hey, I know you got a new rink. I'd like to do one." And he said, "Hey, this is crazy, but we just took over a rink in Savannah. They got a new pro team, ECHL, I believe, the Savannah Ghost Pirates." He said, They don't have an adult league. We're just going to start one, but people are just fucking craving some hockey. And I said, let's do it. We sold out 4. We went to 6. We're not sold out with 6, but I think we're going to get there by the time that the tournament happens. And so it's going to be a crazy week because I'm going to go Binghamton where it's cold, Oklahoma City where it's mild, and then Savannah where it's going to be 75 degrees. And I'm like, well, fuck, I got to pack for every single fucking season except summer. Like, so it's kind of, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Life's tough, Nicky.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's the life of an international beer league playboy. What am I going to do?
An international beer league playboy. I love it.
I love it.
That's great.
That
should be your link. That should be your LinkedIn bio.
That 100%. I'm going to remove everything. Hey, see, John Andre, Nick, he said, or Kev, he said, Kev, you should go play. We're trying to get Kev. We're going to get him. Well, hey, listen.
I retired.
But if we come close, but listen, let's talk about retiring because I just read when he said that Yabo was coming on. Yabo took 5 or 6 years off, and then went back and played in Idaho there. So I mean, we can get you out of retirement. I mean, it's just it's beer league. It's not serious.
Not to change the subject, but he just to kind of get this through. He actually he was my first pro fight. He put my nose bone right through basically through my nose and up into my eye.
Hell yeah! What a buddy! What a fucking buddy!
Love him.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, can I ask you a question, Nick? Because it seems like you're a pretty gritty dude back in the days as well. Do you just dislike everyone you fight, or do you just kind of like we fought?
No, absolutely not. You know how many times I've gone up to guys and it's been like it just tapping them on the show, the shinners, and you just go, I got to get one in. You mind giving me one? Yeah, sure, bud. Even when they get up to the NHL, it's. You'll have a rookie that's trying to make a name for himself. He'll go up to a vet and just like, hey, bud, you mind giving me one? I'm trying to, stay up and not get dropped. And a vet will give him one. The times that when it's spontaneous, like when it's like, say a guy gets hit and then a fight breaks out, that's usually where there's some anger involved. But when you see like them lined up and they go off, especially in the Myers, they go off the hop, off the drop, it's not really a hate thing. It's more of, I got to get one in. Let's get the crowd into it. I got to go here. And it's going out with them after. I mean, I love Yabo. And again, like I just said, he put my nose bone through my eye. And I love him to death. Him and Johnny Morasti, if you look up, have been, fighting for like 2 decades, and they talk every week. You know what I mean? Mikey Segroy, same thing. So it's just like Johnny said, it's always, you're throwing them and then you're hanging out with the boys after because it's not ill will. It's just part of the game.
That, that's insane to me as a guy that started hockey late in his 30s, as a matter of fact. And I was forced into the game by my Canadian wife. But she did tell me, like, listen, you can barely stand up on the ice. You don't need to fight. I know you guys think that fighting is what hockey's about, but it's not. It always, like, I'm just like, well, how, if I don't dislike you, how can I hit you in the face, right? Because any fight I've ever been in has been because I dislike the person, and so it's this is a
but
weird concept, right?
it is. No, and I get it, Nicky. It's just it's part of the, you have to understand, one, it's part of the game, right? I mean, it is. And I don't think they should ever take it out because it does police the game out there. I mean, you got to think about it, right? Where it's a game where you're skating around, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. You're shooting the puck 90, 100 miles an hour. You've got a weapon in your hands. You've got knives on your feet. You're 220 pounds. You're 6'3". If you don't have someone out there policing and making sure the game's going right, what's going to happen? Guys are going to start getting clubbed in the head. Guys are going to get. I mean, my father said it the other day. I went and had dinner down with my father, and we were talking. They had something on the board on TV about Connor McDavid and Wayne Gretzky, and there was some sort of comparison they were making with points or whatever. Anyways, my father said, Gretzky was great, don't get me wrong, but it was because he never got touched. And he was, I mean, and he'll say it right. I mean, the only reason he went to LA, if he wouldn't have gone to LA, and in his contract, he put in the only way he'll go to LA is that if Marty McSorley comes with him. So the only way.
But Dave Semenko,
Marty McSorley, Dave Semenko, Marty McSorley. I mean, Esa Tikkanen. I mean, these guys played for Edmonton, and if you went within and you sneezed on Gretzky, you were getting your head pumped in. And it's just because it was the way. It's the way of the game. You've got to be protected. You got to protect, and that's what Yabo and these guys will tell you any day of the week.
Yeah,
it wasn't hate. It was protection.
Protection. Yes. Yeah. I went to when I moved to Canada, I worked for a big league here. And it was non-contact league, obviously. And I put in a new league in Grand Prairie, Alberta. Just, boys from the fucking bush and the oil fields that just, they played hockey their whole life. And, the rules were, hey, if you fight, you're kicked out of the league, or, there's a penalty minute limit. And I tried to sell this to them, and they pulled me aside one night and said, hey, Nick, listen, we love you, buddy. We know, your hockey story, and we think it's really cool. But what you don't understand is if you don't let us police this league, if a guy comes into, he has a bad day and he comes to the rink and he starts hacking people in the arms and, swinging his stick around, like, he needs to be punched in the face. And the reason why is because if you don't punch him in the face, he's going to think it's all right, and he's going to do it. And then someone on their team's going to start doing it. And then that's all it's going to be, is just people swinging around sticks, trying to hurt people. Because they're like, well, look at this guy, he's doing it, and look at this guy. So fighting is a way to regulate the games. And I just said, well, listen, I just have a league mandate. I'm with you guys. I don't know, I can't handle myself in that fashion because I don't have the skills. But by all means, you guys get it, right?
Well, Nicky, the other big problem is too, right? I mean, I've been playing the game since I was 3 years old. Exactly. That's the first time I put on my pair of skates. Like you said, Nicky, and I'm not knocking it. You just started picking up the game in your 30s, which is fantastic, which I absolutely love hearing those kind of things. Because I love this game. But unfortunately, you get guys out there that just started, in their 20s or started in their 30s. They're playing beer league, and they don't understand that concept of what a fighter is. So they go out there thinking they're a tough guy, and they're swinging their stick around. They're trying to start fights, and that's not what that job is. That's not what fighting in hockey is, and it really pisses me off. And I've seen guys try to start, like, for instance, Mikey Segroy. I love Mikey, and he's a great guy, and he does a lot for the community here in Orlando, and he teaches MMA and stuff like that. And we were playing in a summer league tournament down in Rockledge. It was awesome. Me and Mikey on the same team. It was really cool. It was a great tournament. We had a lot of fun. And there was this guy on the other team, and he kept on, like, chirping Mike. And it was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, this guy couldn't play. He was like, he started like in his 40s, and he was like slashing Mike. And it was like he was trying to push Mike, right? Mike will kill you. Mike's 6'6". I mean, he's a monster. And the guy just didn't understand what he was getting himself into. He wanted
How do
to
you
start
not
a
with
fight.
the guy who's 6'6"?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. And he knew. And then finally, Mike had enough. He had enough, and he had enough. And finally, he grabbed the guy and he put a beating on him. And it was just, it was one of those things. And what I'm trying to get at is you get guys, unfortunately, and this is why sometimes I stepped away from beer league, because you get a guy out there that thinks that's all hockey is. Well, I'm going to be a tough guy. I'm, swinging my stick around. Well, if I get a hold of you and I start pumping you, I don't want to hear shit after because you wanted to be a tough guy. I just work 9 to 5. I don't need to be coming out here getting slashed in the ankles and getting punched in the head from some schmuck that just doesn't know what he's actually doing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and for you guys, I
didn't mean to go up. I didn't mean to go up.
No, that's all right. And for you guys who are pro, ex-pros, like I think people you got to have a target on you for that kind of shit even more so. When I used to manage rinks, we had some really, really high level hockey there, and a lot of times the guys, if you had a guy who was maybe an ex-pro, like Reed Simpson played in the league and stuff, Nick, I don't know if you remember him, but people try to push his buttons, and eventually someone's going. It's all right. Eventually, he's gonna turn around. He's gonna clock you, because it's like, oh, he's an ex-NHLer. I want to, I don't know, have a story to tell or something.
Like that dude with Mike Tyson on the airplane. And the guy just kept doing it, and then
that's real. That's really stupid. By the way,
you know why? There's one reason. There's one reason why I don't fight. The number one, and there's a lot of reasons, but the number one reason: getting punched in the face fucking hurts.
It's not fun.
It hurts. And great. So in beer league, like, why would I want to subject myself to that? Yeah. So it is what it is.
What's it worth? Yeah,
exactly. I mean, maybe cool story, a podcast. Like, I guess if I came on this podcast, had a black eye, and I got to tell a cool story. Cool, but I still don't. At my advanced age these days,
I'm not fucking old.
I'm not trying to let people punch me in the face willingly, so I avoid those situations. Yeah,
ideally, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if even punching people hurt your hands.
Yeah.
So, So, all right. So let's move on to NHL. We're gonna toss this.
I don't know. That's a pretty good segue into injuries, isn't it?
We were going to talk about some injuries, and I'm dealing with one myself. And you know how I got my injury? I said I was my advanced age. I fell while I was out shoveling the fucking driveway. Fucking
just slipped on the ice.
Yeah, just fucking biffed it right on my fucking back. I'm walking around like an old fucking man. And I'd tell these people in Bingham, I'm like, hey, boys, listen. I know I'm team captain. Not on skill, just because I organize everything. Like, I don't know.
That's usually the captain in beer league is the guy who's willing to take care of all the organization. Yeah.
I started a team in Oklahoma, and I was like, I'm going to start this team and run it, and they can't cut me because I'm doing everything right.
Smart.
I fell, fucking biffed it right on the fucking ice. Now my back is just it's not good. So I might just have to go be a wild boy on the fucking sideline, just fucking slamming beers and rooting on the boys, but still going to go out there.
Oh, dude, you got to put a jacket on and a fedora and get behind the bench.
Well, they said, do you want us to replace you? And I said, for goddamn no. Cause then I have no choice. Like, then there's no chance of me playing. Right. So, but it could be too cold.
It's true.
Okay. But we'll talk about injuries, and Nicky Boston wanted to tell us a little bit about his injuries. And if people that are listening here, how about you tweet us or hit us on Facebook, the BLPA, or you can do it right here in the live chat. Tell us the worst injury that you guys had in your beer league career. And now we're going to hear about and see if it'll top Nick's here.
It's not going to top it, boys. If someone can top it, I feel sorry for them. All right. So, me and Nicky Commish were talking about topics and things like that. And I said, well, I've got a story here that I can tell here. And the only reason I don't mind telling it is because back up in Boston, in my age group hockey world, it already knows what happened. So it's a funny story. It's a crazy story. And it's definitely something that they still actually talk about. So I was a senior in high school, right? And remember I told you I went to St. Sebastian's, big prep school, right? I mean, great players there. It was all boys. Graduated with 41 boys. That's it. Okay. So I'm in my senior year. I already committed to Merrimack. I was an early commit. So I committed in September, early commit, signed it, all done. So I'm playing my senior year, and we're at a tournament up in Taba. You guys know Travis Roy, right? You guys know who Travis Roy is?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay, who he is, Kevin? He was the kid that played at Tabor Academy, went to BU, first shift, first game as a freshman. 16 seconds in, he hits the board, falls the wrong way, and completely breaks his neck, and ends up paralyzed. He actually just passed away about I think a year ago or a year and a half ago. But he was a pretty special guy. Okay, and so what they did is they set up the Travis Roy Cup. And it was a great tournament up at Tabor Academy, and St. Sebastian's got to play in it. Okay, so we're playing in the game. We're down 2-1, and all of a sudden I come through the middle of the ice, and me and this kid just collide. Right? I mean, we just hit each other. It wasn't like a hit. Neither of us had the puck. We just didn't see each other. He drops, and I'm like, wow, my chest, my stomach are killing me. Like I'm in a lot of pain, but I'm keep going. Well, they had to stop the game. He had to get off the ice. I mean, they had to take him off on a stretcher, and I'm still in pain, right? But I'm playing. I score the next one. Bang, great. I'm on the back of the bench because I can't breathe. My stomach's killing me. So I got my pants pulled up and stuff, trying to get like off the pressure. Go out there again, score the next one, score the game winner. Great. Okay. So we go in between the periods of the second and third. Okay. And I'm like, taking off my gear because I can't, I'm having some pain here. All of a sudden, my cousin, who's actually on my team as well, is sitting right next to me. And I'm completely undressed, all right? And I look over, and he's as white as the shirt, as the shirt behind me. And he looks at me, and he goes, Nicky, whatever you do, just go to the hospital. I said, Billy, what's the matter? He goes, don't look, don't nothing, go to the hospital. I look down, my right nut looks like the size of a, I don't know, bowling ball, grapefruit. Okay, not done yet.
Humble brag.
So just think about this. So just think about this. First off, right, I just played a whole period, scored 2 goals, whole thing with my right nut this big. Now, I'm in ton of pain. So now I run out to the locker room, right? And I run out of the locker room on the thing. I'm like, Mom, my mother, father there. I'm like, got to get me to the hospital. Well, my grandmother was head nurse in Omaha, 2 hours away. So my mother wanted me to take me there. Finally, the adrenaline's out. I'm in the back of my father's car, passing out, waking up, because now the adrenaline, I'm in so much pain. I get in there, right? And the whole place is packed, right? And I'm going screaming, give me a fucking bed. Somebody get me a fucking doctor, get me a fucking bed. All of a sudden I hear some guy, and my father tells it the same way. Some guy's like, why does he get to go first? I'm sitting here with a broken arm. I'm like, my fucking nuts. And I scream it. And he's like, somebody help him. Please, somebody help him, right? Please, somebody help him. So long story short, I shattered my right nut in 8 pieces. Ooh, 9 hours of surgery. They put it back together. I have them both, right? But I got a scar there and everything. For the next 2 months, I had a catheter? Not a catheter. They had like a drain underneath my nuts because they had to drain all the blood. Because not only did I rupture it, I hemorrhaged. What happened was when me and this kid collided, his stick was up and it speared me right in the balls and it shattered my cup. Right. So after I get back to school, I come to find out that the trainer there kept my cup, the shattered cup, and they have a tournament there called the Camerata Cup every Christmas. It's just between the boys. It's a 3-on-3 tournament where they put that cup on a plaque, and every year they name the winner of the teams. That's the worst. That's the worst injury I've ever had.
That is a hard one to.
No one's topping that.
Why wouldn't they just remove the testicle? Why put it back there?
I don't know. They kept it. I mean, I'm not going to show you the scar. I mean, but I still got the scar right there. They saved them both, and everything works great and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but pain was pain. That was when the adrenaline ran out. I didn't even know where I was.
Yeah, that sounds insane. Oh, fuck.
Passing out, waking up, passing out, waking up. I mean, and the size of the thing, I mean, it looked like a grapefruit.
Yeah,
You know what I
it's
mean?
funny you said that. I had a buddy in high school.
I'm gonna need another beer after that story.
I had a buddy in high school I played baseball with, and he didn't get an injury, but his blood vessels wrapped around one of them and cut off the blood supply, and it swelled up. It got that big as a grapefruit, and they had to remove one of his old boys down there.
It was bad. It was as bad as they came. I mean, they wanted me to sit out 6 months, but I came back in 3. I had to wear a goal. I actually had to wear a goalie cup.
Oh, the old double cup.
1 month of the season, I wore one of those big ass goalie cups for the rest of my career because the thought of it happening again or anything was so terrifying.
Hey, Nick, do a lot of pros not wear cups?
Yeah.
Because of the mobility, right? They'd rather have the mobility. See, now I've always thought that was crazy. But football players too. Like, you imagine that?
But it's it's insane because those guys, the hockey guys, also willingly lay down in front of clappers without a cup and without facial.
Well, like,
they just don't give a fuck.
But even but when I played pro, like my shoulder pads were the old Koopa ones. Yeah, the old ones. Like there was no.
Do you even wear shouldies? Do you wear shouldies now? And if you play beer league, do you even wear shouldies? Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, I never did either because there's just.
I wear elbow pads because getting a break because blowing up that bursa sack or anything is brutal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I read elbow pads and knee pads and pants. I mean, that's as far as it goes.
That's insane. And I'm glad you still have your both nuts.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
My girl doesn't complain.
Yeah.
I don't have any problems or nothing like that.
That's all that matters, right?
And I've seen I've seen a throat cut on the ice. I saw a goalie that happened to. That's scary. And that's when we were like 12 too. And I've seen some doozies, but for me personally, and I've had 7 shoulder surgeries, 2 knee surgeries.
Damn.
That one with my balls was the worst one I've ever had.
Do you think that old boy that you ran into, if you would have lost your nut, would have felt pretty fucking bad that he cost a nut?
I don't know. I guess he got knocked out. Like his skull was cracked and stuff like that.
Damn.
Like,
my dad had his test score removed, and it was caused by my brother. And I always thought it was funny, like, because what happened was we were little, and I remember my dad was waiting for the cable guy to come to our house. We had a small house back then, and my brother was the height. His head was right at my dad's ball sack, and my dad was walking down the hallway, and my brother came running around the corner, head right into and it ruptured my dad's testicle. Maybe I shouldn't tell this personal story for my dad, but sorry, Dad. And so he lost it, and I was, and so like, it's funny, like every time he'd do something wrong or, my dad would say, "You cost me my nut, kid." And, that's just the way it was. So I just wondered
that's good. That's good to note. My son is right at that height right
You got to watch, you need to put mirrors around the corners so you can see
he's at the perfect height right now.
Yeah. Exactly. So any injuries for you, K-Ro? You had any injuries?
No, I mean, it certainly can't follow the grapefruit nut shatter, but no, I never had anything like horrifically bad. I mean, just the usual, hockey. The worst ones that I've had, the worst injury I had was from snowboarding, and I crashed and popped my lung, broke some ribs and popped my lung, and I ended up in the hospital for 3 days with.
And there's nothing they could do for broke ribs. They just hurt.
No, and the lung thing was, that was the worst pain I've ever felt.
John wants to know if you've ever had a ficus cut.
I don't have a ficus, John, so I don't know. but no, that was the worst injury I've ever had. But hockey stuff, it was always like, ribs were always bad because just you can't breathe, you can't do anything. Tailbone's a bad injury too because you just can't get comfortable at all. You're just constantly in pain. How about you, Nick? Have you had anything super bad?
Like I've had back surgery before because of just putting my body through hell growing up and playing ball and stuff. And like right now I'm dealing with like a torn labrum, torn rotator cuff, and torn bicep tendon. But in Canada, they basically say like if you can't, and they basically said, hey, if it's not causing you like to go about your normal business, then we're not going to fix it. And they said usually unless you're like a high level athlete, we don't even fix the bicep tendon. I'm like, I'm a mid-level beer leaguer. That's high enough. Like if I pull my shirt off, like my bicep starts like down here and it's not connected. You can see a gap. It's crazy. But I've been pretty lucky throughout even, growing up playing ball through college to not have, really traumatic. Like, I even got in a car wreck and was ejected from the vehicle and just basically
Wow.
cuts and scrape. But I weighed a lot. Like I weighed like 300 pounds at that time. And the doctor basically said, hey, probably the only reason you're alive is because you were so fat. My wife passed away, and my first wife passed away in that car wreck. And he basically said, you were just so big that it probably actually saved your life having all that cushion. And I'm like, okay, cool. But now I can't be this fat forever. So I got less fat. But yeah, so I've been pretty lucky, knock on wood, wherever. I hope I don't get frostbite in Binghamton, New York this weekend. I want to just say, Jess is telling us that she blew out her ACL on big air and snowboarding and broke it snowboarding, and that's why her hashing name is
typing.
Yeah.
She's typing. She's typing like she's had a couple of cocktails.
Yeah, she's had a few for sure. She wants to know if our combos, if we ever think, is my fertility worth a block shot. And listen, when people are paying you a lot of money, I'm not a pro level guy. I'm not going to try to block shots, but pro level guys, like, that's their job. They get paid to do that stuff. So you just kind of go through it. So
guys, what is that word you just said? My box was inoperable.
Inoperable. Yeah. She's trying to
that's not inoperable.
No, that's not how you spell inoperable. Interoperable.
She had a box issue. She told the story, I think, but she had a box issue and had some issues with her lady parts. Something we'll talk about on, I guess, Jess's genitals is another,
No. We changed the name, I thought.
I can't remember it though. And I don't want to get the old people, razzing us again. So, okay. See, she can't even spell fuck, right?
No.
And this is her boyfriend. Jess blew out something else too. Now they're just making sexual innuendos in the chat.
In the chat box.
Now it's become a sex chat. We should charge. It should be like a 1-800 number, and we should charge by the minute to be a part of this.
I think that's a good move.
Hey Jake, you know what? Jess would really like if you became a VIP member and supported us through a box every month. We got some new merch coming out. I forgot to mention this. Really badass merch, to be honest with you. We'll have that out soon, so be on the lookout for that. Okay, let's kind of start wrapping things up with Kev's NHL segment here. Big NHL guy right here.
Yeah, it sounds good. Bombing for Bedard, where we take a look at who's at the bottom of the standings, vying for the chance to draft Connor Bedard. My Blackhawks have fallen a spot to 31st with 34 points. However, their shittiness isn't as bad as the shittiest team, the Columbus Blue Jackets, at 33 points. The once mighty Ducks have won 3 in a row, putting them at 37 points and in third place in the Bedard sweepstakes. In other news, big trade coming on the heels of firing their coach. The Vancouver Canucks traded away their top scorer, sending Bo Horvat to the Islanders for Anthony Beauvillier and Audi Auturati, I don't know how to say his name, along with a conditional first-round draft pick in this year's draft. This was weird. I've never heard of this before. The condition is that if the pick ends up being a top 12, then the Canucks get the Islanders 2024 pick instead.
Yeah, just a lot. This just protect it. The thing is like it's such a deep draft this year that you don't want to get stuck in, like, if they somehow get into the lottery and get pulled up and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we already know who's going to win Bedard, and it's Arizona. We already know.
Damn it! Would you stop with that shit? No,
but it's true. Like, Bettman wants hockey to work in the desert. Austin Matthews is going to sign with the Coyotes. Bedard's going to go there. He's going to use that leverage to get a new facility built in Scottsdale. This is business.
You're insane.
This is my one.
You're insane.
I agree.
Insane.
Thank you, Nick.
You're insane.
Hey,
You're insane.
Listen, here's what's going to happen. If this happens, then you guys are going to have to apologize to me. When it comes to fruition,
what's going to happen? What's going to happen is Phoenix is going to go bye-bye, and they're going to take that, and they're going to go bye-bye, and they're going to take that, and they're going to move it to Quebec.
And guess what? Well, what better place to have Austin Matthews and Bedard in Quebec? It's perfect.
It's one city in this entire North America that deserves an NHL team. It's Quebec City. Not just because of the Nordiques. I mean, as a kid playing in the Pee Wee, I don't know if you guys know what the Quebec Pee Wee tournament is. It's the biggest Pee Wee tournament in the world. It is. It is. If you're a Pee Wee, you want to play in the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. It is. It's awesome. It's legendary, and it's been around for 50 years. And without having the Nordiques there, I know with Montreal, but Quebec City, out of every city in the entire North America, deserves an NHL team. I've been saying it for years. They deserve it.
Well, hey, I think Quebec is a great city, and so I'm on board. I think Phoenix is a great city, but it's hard to support. And listen, Jess is from Phoenix, so she'll have an opinion on this for sure. But it's just where they put that stadium and that arena, just no one fucking gives a shit. They need to put it in Scottsdale where all the fucking money is and where all the snowbirds go down. That way it's not a 45-minute drive to the rink. It's insane. But all I know is Bettman wants hockey to work in Arizona. He's doing everything he can, and that's why I'm saying.
Why? I don't understand why though. Why? There's not.
He was all hell bent on it in Atlanta too, and they finally gave that up.
That doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm a
he was all about expansion. That was his big thing, was expansion. The Atlanta experiment didn't work. You know,
but Vegas worked, but Vegas
did work, and I honestly was surprised at that.
Yeah, well, not me. I mean, because they were the first pro sport, right? And for the longest time, you couldn't get. Well,
it's true.
There was like Las Vegas. They had a lower minor team for a while, but I mean, I remember going the first year, and people that had never heard of hockey were wearing Golden Knight stuff, and they were just super stoked that they were going to have a pro team. And now
they were really excited about it. Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense, right? Like it's an attraction for when people come. People like when the Flames go, people want to fly down that are Flames fans, or when the Oilers. Makes a lot of sense. Seattle's another one. There's such a rich hockey history in Seattle, and
Seattle's
bring that back is crazy. Yeah. So it'd be cool to see Quebec City, and but there's other cities too.
It helped Vegas that did they go to the Cup Finals the first year?
Yeah,
they did. Yeah.
As a fan, does that piss you off? I mean, you're a Blackhawks fan, so you've had recent success, but like as a Flames fan, it's like these guys don't have to feel the heartache of
it's sort of like a rite of passage, right? You didn't have to deal. You should have to deal with your team being just god awful for years before you get to go to a cup.
But as a hockey guy,
I mean, we were lucky in the '70s, but I wasn't born then. I had to wait until 2011 before we won another title.
Yeah, and then look at you now, right. You guys are on fire. But but the thing you think about it, if you want hockey to succeed as a hockey guy, and you look at Vegas. That's the best thing that could have happened to them, because people like winners. People want to support winners.
Absolutely.
So these people that don't know much hockey, they're going to support Vegas because they're winners first and foremost. And so it was a good thing. But as a fan of your team, you're like, fuck, like how come we can't get this shit? We can't even get out of the first round of playoffs in Calgary. So so that's that.
Calgary, Nicky just keeps making. I don't know what they're doing. They just keep making weird moves. Right.
I agree.
I mean, they get rid of guys. I know, Nicky, but they get rid of guys like. I mean, the whole Johnny Gaudreau, nonsense.
They didn't get rid of him. They didn't get rid of him.
I know. He just didn't resign because they didn't want to give him the money, though. They don't want to spend money, Calgary.
They offered him $1.5 million more than what he got in Columbus.
Is it really? See, maybe I thought it was a money situation. I love Calgary. Yeah, I've been to the Stampede. Calgary's a great city, so I just don't understand why guys don't stay there.
With Johnny, I think a lot of it had to do with his family. His family's back east. His dad had a heart attack a year before, and his wife was from back there. They were going to have their first baby, so I get it. Matthew Tkachuk, another one, like he wanted the dollars, and I mean you're a young kid from the States. I mean these places like Florida and LA, like in New York, like they have an advantage because that's where people want to live, right? Like if you ask me and said, do you want to play for the Flames and live in Calgary through these winters, or do you want to go live in Tampa Bay and play for the Lightning? I'm going to go to fucking Tampa Bay. Like I love Calgary.
Yeah, but see, I think you can have a really good organization that can lure people in too, because as a former Chicago guy, I'm a Bears fan, having to watch the Packers have just mountains of success for years and years and years. Who the fuck wants to live in Green Bay? But for whatever reason, they were able to lure free agents and keep people around,
But it's a little different too in the sport, because in the NFL, like you have to go to college for 3 years before you can get in to the NFL, basically. And in Cal, like Gaudreau and Tkachuk, like they were drafted right out of high school. And I know Gaudreau went to Boston College for a while, but Tkachuk started as an 18-year-old. And so, by the time his deals were over, he's 23, 24 years old. And now he's like, I've done this. I've given what I can do. Now I want to go to where I want to be. Right. And so
I get it. It just have you guys ever been to a Panthers game?
Yes.
Have you? I hated it, Nicky. I hated going to a Panthers game. I mean, being here in Florida, don't get me wrong, even Tampa, I used to go to the Tampa games all the time, especially in the earlier years. And like I just never understood the concept, especially coming from Boston, Chicago, right, Calgary. They had male cheerleaders in the stands. It was just a weird atmosphere, and I think down in Florida too, the Panthers. It's a tough place. I don't know why. There's no energy in the building. It seems like the fans aren't into it. And I mean, they have one of the most underrated players in the entire NHL who never gets any recognition because he's playing in Florida. Barkov.
Oh, Barkov
is awesome.
Yeah,
he's
awesome.
a stud. He's an absolute stud. And most NHLers are saying that. But when do you hear about him? You never do because it's not there's no market there.
Yeah, I get it. And they have a beautiful facility. It's kind of in the middle of in a weird place too, but they have a beautiful facility. I actually played on the ice there once and got chirped by fucking oh boy, who's the guy that was in Columbus? Tortorella. Tortorella came in, like we did this skate on a thing, and he peeked in and then basically said it's like a bunch of guys that aren't good at hockey or something like that, and then walked off. And we're like, God damn.
Like, you didn't have to be so honest.
He was right, but what are you going to do, right? Yeah. So, all right. Well, that sounds like we can wrap up the NHL talk for.
I wanted to bring up one more thing. Some sad news.
Yep.
That's okay. There's some sad news. Legendary Blackhawk and Hall of Famer Bobby Hull died yesterday. He was 84. He scored 604 goals as a Blackhawk, the most in team history. He was elected to the Hall in 1983. He scored 50 goals in a season 5 times throughout his career. I used to see him when I went to a lot of Hawks games, and he was a great ambassador for the team. He was always around the United Center around the games, taking pictures with fans, being good to the young players. He was just an awesome dude. So he will definitely be missed. So R.I.P. Bobby.
Golden Jet.
Yep, the Golden Jet.
And there's Carlo, 900 plus goals for Bobby Hull. That's what he says.
That's insane.
604 is a Blackhawk, right, Carlo?
Yeah.
Oh, WHA. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Carlo wrote a good article about Ovi's chase and talking about the different, WHA. And I actually, Carlo was at, I think that might have been about maybe Gordie Howe, the legitimate leading goal scorer, I think is what it was. I'd have to go back and look. But anyway, all right, well, let's hit us with, we do this thing, Kev. It's, you've probably heard of the game Fuck, Marry, Kill before in your illustrious tenure of this on this earth, Kev. And so we play it, but it's called Fight, Liney, Cut. So Kev's going to give us 3 players, and we have to say who and why we would fight, who we would be line mates with, and who we would cut from the team.
And last time, Nicky came out with Barbara Walters, Queen Elizabeth, and Lisa Marie Presley.
Yep, because they died. Wow. They died.
So this time I did something a little bit different, and it's perfect for this.
Okay.
Because I did an homage to NHL fighters. All right. So the 3 are going to be Bob Probert, Ty Domi, and George Laraque.
Holy fuck. That's a hard one. I don't want to fight any of them.
You don't want to fight any of them. I don't think so either, but you got to pick someone. So,
I mean, Probert just seems like he's at the top of that list of fighters. And then,
I would agree.
And then Laraque next. So if I'm going to have to fight anyone, it's Domi. And he's got bad genes because his son's a diabetic like myself. So maybe, I can genetically, whoop that ass.
Genetically whoop that ass. I'm not sure that has ever been said.
Genetically whoop his ass. And that's a tough, because I wasn't a hockey fan. Like I met my wife in 2005, 6, and that's when I really started watching hockey. So I didn't really get to watch Probert or really that much of Laraque. I just know
Probert was a scary man.
Yeah,
he really was.
Have you ever watched that documentary about him, Nicky? If you don't know anything about him, watch that documentary.
It's insane, and
it's good.
I'm going to line mate him because I'm scared of him, and the reason I'm cutting Laraque is because I think it's a bitch fucking move what he does, and what he does is anytime there's any kind of like, I guess controversy around like fighting or doing something dirty. This motherfucker always goes on Twitter and says, sign me for a day. I'll come out and fight. I'm like, bud, you're 60 years old. You're not going to go out and fight anybody with any success. So shut your fucking yap. And I wouldn't say that to his face, of course.
No, I wouldn't recommend it.
I'm thinking that in my brain. And so that's why I'm cutting him. So I'm going to line Proby. I'm going to fight a genetically whoop Ty Domi's ass. and then I'm cutting Ola Rock. So,
all right, Nick, you're up.
All right. So fight, I'd go LaRock. All right. And here's why. Just like you said, Nicky, he's actually a teddy bear. Remember we were talking earlier about guys that just fight. He doesn't like to fight unless it's like a necessity. Bobby Probert will rip your heart out and then sit there right in front of you, carve it up, and put it down his mouth. Ty Domi is another one. Remember when he scored the water bottle squirt in the penalty box, and he thumped that guy? And Ty Domi has a head that's like a cement block. I've met Ty. His head is like a cement block. You could punch him 300 times, and it's not going to phase him. So I'd fight LaRock because he's a generally nice guy. Even if he pumps me, he's going to stop when I say stop. Proby and Domi are going to kicking the shit out of you until they're just tired or feel like doing it. All right. Liney, I'm definitely going Proby because Proby will always have my back and he's always there. Plus, after he's a good time at the bar. And he's a good time in a lot of other areas, with the broads and the beer and I mean, obviously it's what it killed him, but at the same time too, it was a good time to have as a liney. So I would definitely have him as a liney. And then I'm cutting Ty just because obviously playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, being a Boston Bruins guy, he can go fuck himself. And secondly, he's kind of got a bad rep amongst players a little bit. He can be kind of a dick, where Proby was a good guy. And George, even though, he's kind of soft, he's still a good dude. So I'm going with LaRock, fight, Proby, Liney, Domi, cut.
I'm worried about genetically whooping old Domi's ass. Sounds like he is genetically built to not get his ass.
He's kind of crazy, man. He was crazy.
Nicky, guys, his thing was, this was his thing, because you have to understand, Proby back then, Proby was what, 6'2", 6'3"? Ty Domi was only like 5'8".
Yeah, he was a little dude.
Little dude. So he had to take a lot of punches. So he would get inside, and what he would do is he would grab you, and it's called the whip move, where he was so low and center of gravity. Once he got you, he would just try to whip you around, right? Because that's the only way he'd get any leverage, and then he'd hit you. But if you hit him, his head literally was like a cinder block. You would every time you someone punched him, you would hear a knuckle crack, a knuckle break. You were hearing fingers busted because his head was so hard. It's like Johnny Morasti. It's the same thing. You got to hit him with like 900 punches before they feel anything.
Holy shit! And you mentioned Proby being a ladies' man and party animal, a real wild boy. I think that's the stories I want to start asking. Like everyone, you listen to hockey shows and everyone always asks about the hockey. I don't give two fucks about the hockey, really. I want to hear about the partying, boys. That's what I want to hear about. Obviously, you got to protect some names.
Well, that's because us beer leaguers are better at partying than we are at hockey. So.
This is what we'll do next show. For next show, Nicky, we'll do if you want, we can do a rookie potty segment. Rookie potties are the craziest thing you will ever be a part of.
A lot of cookies, I'd imagine.
No, forget fucking cookies. Cookie races are fucking, that's like mites. This is rookie potties at the pros. They are, we'll have to, that's a whole other hour, boys.
Well, hey, listen,
happy to tell stories about rookie potties with no names. But rookie potties are like think of Ozzy Osbourne meets Motley Crue.
Okay. Well, Yabo had one game in the NHL. Did he have to be part of a rookie party?
No.
Oh. Okay, just curious.
But he has his own rookie party. No. I'm talking in the minors. We have the East Coast, the Coast.
All right, we're gonna hear about him.
Hockey League. As far as my rookie party, American League. I mean, he'll have a rookie potty story.
Okay. Gotcha.
And his will probably be worse than mine. But rookie potties and rookie dinners, they're a whole other world, boys. That's like the rookie parties in the NHL and rookie parties in pro hockey are like the secret society of hockey. I'm just telling you.
I need to be a part of one. I need to be a part.
I'm just telling you. It's a secret world. And unless you're a hockey player, you're not going to be part of it.
All right.
And it is something that it's cherished by everybody and it's loved. But as a rookie, it's interesting.
Okay. Well, I can't wait. That's a good cliffhanger for next week. But
That's a perfect cliffhanger.
We got to get Kev to give us fight line.
You're actually making me nervous about next week.
Hell yeah. And by the way, no one. Hey, Aaron, how are you doing? No one trashed the Panthers. We were just talking about. We wish that there was a little bit more fanfare around them because they have.
I'll trash the Panthers. I can't stand them down there. I'm sorry, Aaron. You might be a sweetheart, but I can't stand the Panthers down there.
She is a sweetheart. For sure. All right, hit us with a fight line cut. We can get on out of huh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't go. I'm actually I'm the same as Nick. I would be line mates with Proby. Oh, Nick, you're Nicky. He's Nick. I'd be line mates with Proby. I would fight Larock and I would cut Ty Domi because Ty Domi scares us. I mean, Probert was a badass, but Ty Domi just seemed like he wasn't kind of all there. So I don't want any part of that.
So you're saying, hold on a second, Cairo. You're telling me that Ty Domi, who has a kid and has a family and, life compared to picked up 3 times for cocaine, transfer and actually transferring cocaine over state country lines.
He's an entrepreneur.
4 car accidents, and actually playing on cocaine on numerous occasions. He's. You think Ty Domi's?
We didn't say Probert was completely sane. We just
I'm sorry, Kay. I'm just trying to figure this out.
I feel like Ty Domi was like
I'm trying to figure out who I'm talking to here. I'm trying to figure out who I'm getting my you know what I mean? I'm associating myself.
Listen to me. I'm terrified of all of them. All right, but I had to pick somebody.
All right, perfect. All right, well, outside of that, is there anything anyone wants to say before we go? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to promote? Nope.
Nothing crazy. No, not for right now.
All right.
I have another podcast called History Defeats Itself. It's funny. Check us out. We're on all the podcast players.
It is a good podcast, and they should have me on to talk about ancient Rome one day. And
we will have you on.
Perfect. Other than that, guys, check out our new merch is coming out. Check out our tournaments. And most of all, tune in next week so we can tell you about rookie parties. I mean, we already told you about cookie races. We told you about a dude dragging his nuts on the fucking, locker room floor. And now we've got fucking Nicky with a big ass nut rolling through the hospital. So more stories on the way. So check us out. Other than that, guys, love you guys. Be good or be good at it.